Welcome back to the final part of coverage of the Power Max Mini Challenge from Donington Park. Now, the championship loves to welcome guest drivers, and this weekend we're lucky enough to have Clio Cup driver Jack Mitchell join us. Hiya, Jack.
All right.
Yeah. So you, I'm assuming, quite enjoyed it because you ended up on the podium.
Yeah, it was a really good race. I started 8th and I managed to pick up a few drivers on the first lap, and I managed to stay out of trouble. Got up to 4th, overtook another driver and then just picked them off one by one to get into 2nd by lap 4 and just try to get my head down to catch Charlie, but it was a little bit too far in front.
Yeah. So I've got to ask you, coming from the Clios, how do you feel that the cars compare?
They are very similar, but the main parts is this car has a lot of turn-in compared to the Clio, and this has quite a lot of oversteer compared to the Clio as well, so it's basically totally opposite. So it's been quite hard for me to get my head around it, but we definitely got there slowly but surely.
Yeah. So what do you think in terms of sort of the racing? How did that differ for you out on the track?
Yeah, it was quite similar to the Clio. It was hard but fair racing, which I'm used to, so it wasn't really a problem to adjust to it.
Family connections seem to be a little bit of a theme this weekend. In the Gen 3s, we've already got the Butler Hendersons. Now, meet the Boons. I feel like I'm on Family Fortunes here doing this. So, first of all, we've got uncle and nephew, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
So, Chris, you're already in the championship, first of all, so tell us a little bit about it so far.
Yeah, it's. I signed up at a reasonably early stage to get into the championship, got the car, and it's been fun. Those that have watched the previous round might have seen my rather large accident at Alton Park, which we've recovered from, and the car's hopefully back together properly now. It's a testament to the strength of the Gen 3 cars and the safety equipment we need to carry. So it was a big accident, but glad to be back, and it's great to have Nick having a run out this weekend to see whether that's something he wants to do next year.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad you're okay as well, not just the car. And yeah, Nick, coming to you. So obviously that accident didn't put you off, and you're here. Why the decision to race this weekend?
Well, the opportunity came up, so it's we've been looking to try and get involved all year, but budget's always a tricky sort of mountain to climb, really. So the opportunity came up to run the car. I've got some great sponsors that will help me here this week. So Natilic being one of those, Goss Springs, Viapac group, and they've helped me get out here. And so far we've had a pretty strong run in terms of the first weekend. So really pleased. The car's amazing. The championship's fantastic. What Anthony's done to put it all together, is really testament to the whole team. And we've had a great weekend. So hopefully we can get back in next year.
The Butler Hendersons and the Boons are revving their engines now, as are our other non-related drivers in the Gen 3 and JCW classes for the second race.
So the top 4 finishers from the first race are reversed on the grid for the second race, and that means runaway race 1 winner Charlie Butler Henderson finds himself starting from 4th on the grid alongside Jack Mitchell, and on the front row of the grid Lee Patterson takes pole position alongside David Grady. Grady will be keen to take this opportunity to extend his points margin over Charlie Butler Henderson. In the JCW class, Scott Adam moves up onto pole position. Race 1 winner Hamish Brandon starts from 3rd place behind Neil Newstead. So we are ready for the start of the race. Lee Patterson in the distinctive bright red Mini on the left hand side alongside David Grady getting ready for the standing start, and Patterson reacts more quickly to the lights than David Grady. It's a very good start for him, and Grady's going to come under attack because he's already got Jack Mitchell alongside him as they head down to Redgate corner. Mitchell to the inside. Is he going to be able to take that second place away from David Grady? Yes, he is. He obliges Grady to make use of the runoff and the curb at the outside of Redgate corner, and so up into second place goes Jack Mitchell, and David Grady in 3rd already has Charlie Butler Henderson breathing down his neck, and Butler Henderson fancies a move as they go into Old Hairpin for the first time, and he's pulled it off straight away. Butler Henderson up to 3rd place, David Grady down to 2nd, and we've got one of the other F56 cars running a little bit slowly at the back, but no problem up at the sharp end for Lee Patterson. He's immediately into the lead of the race and really feeling the pressure there. You can see Jack Mitchell with Charlie Butler Henderson right behind him as they round McLean's for the first time. The rest of this packed field stream their way through. Picking up the rear of the field there, number 32, that's Alan Taylor in the JCW Mini. But back at the front, Lee Patterson's not built up as much of a lead at the start as Charlie Butler Henderson did in the first race. They head to the chicane for the first time and losing control under braking and spinning off into the runoff area. Lawrence Davey completely lost the back end of his car there and has unfortunately managed to find a rather deep bit of gravel, which I suspect he's going to struggle to get out of. And in that, we see Charlie Butler Henderson has now emerged in second place ahead of Jack Mitchell. Mitchell down into third place and having to defend from another of his rivals a little bit further back. So Charlie Butler Henderson, having started fourth in this race, is immediately up into second position and will now be applying pressure to Lee Patterson and trying to find a way through to make it 2 wins out of 2. So Butler Henderson already tucked up into Patterson's slipstream as they come past the pits for the first time, heading towards Redgate Corner, and Henderson's having a big look down the inside. He puff of tyre smoke as he locks up the brakes, and he's just managed to make it stick. There's a little bit of contact between the pair of them. Patterson tries to cut back as they head down into the Craner curves, but in little more than one lap, Charlie Butler Henderson's managed to move his way up from fourth on the grid into the lead of this race, and is looking to make it 2 out of 2. So he accelerates out of the old hairpin. Patterson a little bit wide as they come out, and here's a little look at what happened to Lawrence Davey. Keep an eye on the blue and orange roofed Mini as they get on the brakes. He was having a little look at Charlie Butler Henderson, just lost control of his car and actually clipped, I think, the back of David Grady's car as he pirouetted off into the gravel trap. That will be the end for his race. So Charlie Butler Henderson holds the lead. Lee Patterson not letting him get away quite so quickly. And in third place, that is Jack Mitchell. That is your top 3 as they round the Adelaide hairpin on the second lap of this race. And you can see a few of the cars a little bit further back, jostling for position as we press on down into the hairpin, and coming from a long way back. That was never ever going to work. That was Ryan Rode, who had a substantial crash at the beginning of the first race, and he's taken out the front of his car, and he's also taken out Ben Sparlow at the last corner of the lap, and I think Ryan Rode was far too late on the brakes there, with inevitable consequences, and Ben Sparlow will not be at all happy about how that has unfolded. But we look back a little bit further and we pick up the JCW class runners, the race there being led by Neil Newstead ahead of Hamish Brandon and Daniel Poole, but an excellent three-way battle developing for fourth place between Scott Adam, who is fending off Jason Jeffries, as you can see, and then Alan Taylor not too far behind them. But Scott Adam coming under a lot of pressure. He leads them down into the Craner curves in his blue and orange Mini with slight overtones of those classic Gulf Le Mans cars for me. He continues to hold on to that place for now, but Lee Patterson is coming under big pressure for second place and down the inside, but running wide, number 17, just running out of road there. That's William Phillips getting a little bit wide in his attempt to pass Lee Patterson, and that has handed the position to David Grady, and Grady very late on the brakes into Coppice, but Grady has made a place back up, and that's going to be very important for him in terms of limiting the damage in the championship, getting him back up one position. He's now into third place, attempting to draw a bead on Lee Patterson. Well, we've got 2 Butler Hendersons in this race. Here is Vicky Butler Henderson having a slightly better outing than she did in the first race, currently running inside the top 10, but under a little bit of pressure from Chris Boone behind her, and Lee Patterson also under pressure, having to cover the inside line as they get into the Melbourne hairpin, and I think taking the position back from David Grady. William Phillips with a nice late move down the inside, very opportunistic stuff. So Phillips back up into third place, and no sooner had I got done saying that David Grady was trying to minimise the damage in the championship, but he's just taken another blow because he's now been squeezed out of the podium positions because William Phillips seized that opportunity down at the Melbourne hairpin. So he is now up into third place, David Grady down to fourth, and his championship rival Charlie Butler Henderson looking very comfortable at the head of the field. As we head on to another lap at Donington Park, and we take a look back at Vicky Butler Henderson continuing to soak up pressure from Chris Boone in that really nice chrome and Union Jack liveried Mini, very patriotic. But Lee Patterson, is he going to be able to hold on to this second place? William Phillips stalking all around the back of him as they go through the Fogarty chicane. It's quite a quick little left and right flick. You make a little bit of a mistake, you can be easy pickings at the Melbourne hairpin. Charlie Butler Henderson is anything but easy pickings. He has got himself a handy little cushion and is secure in the knowledge that the 3 drivers behind him are scrapping for position, so no problems for him there. Charlie Butler Henderson heading into the hairpin for the final time. A little lick of flame from the back of his Mini, but he straightens up the steering, he spies the checkered flag, and for the second time this race weekend, Charlie Butler Henderson is your race winner. It's super close behind him though. Lee Patterson holds off William Phillips by just 0.3 of a second. David Grady another 0.3 back, and Rob Smith in the top 5. And here is the battle going on behind Vicky Butler Henderson, who's going to bring her car home in 9th position, with Chris Boone fending off Ben Sparlow for 10th and 11th position. Barlow having regained the track after he was assaulted by Ryan Rode earlier in the race, and Vicky Butler Henderson absolutely jubilant to have brought her car home with a solid top 10 finish. A very happy day for the Butler Hendersons, because Charlie Butler Henderson has got another trophy to put on their mantelpiece. There is your JCW class winner Neil Newstead, ahead of the Race 1 JCW winner Hamish Brandon. So another victory for him. So here is a look at the final classification. Another victory for Charlie Butler Henderson, followed by Lee Patterson, William Phillips in 3rd place ahead of David Grady, Rob Smith rounding out the top 5. In the JCW class, Neil Newstead leads home, Hamish Brandon, Scott Adam and Alan Taylor complete the top 4. So here is your JCW winner, Neil Newstead. A very happy day for him, and I don't think that Hamish Brandon will be at all disappointed with 2nd place, because he's got quite a lead in the championship there. Vicky Butler Henderson cheering beneath the podium as her brother picks up his trophy. An excellent day for their family. He spoke to Michelle.
Charlie, that reverse grid certainly didn't do you any harm whatsoever, and 2 wins.
Yeah, 2 wins. An amazing start, got rear-ended, as it were, by Davey at the start. I think we all bunched up at Redgate, and then I did a really brave move on cold tyres around the outside of Craners. Shut my eyes, it worked perfectly, and then outbraked Mitchell, I think, in the Power Max car into the chicane, and then did Patterson there. So I did 3 mega important moves that I needed to do to get ahead and get away and get my head down and just get on with it. And I'm over the moon to have 2 wins and a pole. What more can you want, really?
Neil, finishing on a win.
Yeah, what an amazing finish to the day. I needed that as well. Ace to start today, and yeah, I just got ahead. I gapped Hamish quite a bit. I had fastest lap, so I just kept my pace where it was and brought it home. Yeah, not a bad race at all.
So with one more event to come at Snetterton, David Grady holds a comfortable 57-point margin at the top of the championship standings over Charlie Butler Henderson. In the JCW class, Neil Newstead's lead of over 100 points is almost insurmountable with just one event remaining.
That's the checkered flag here at Donington Park, and a great weekend for Charlie Butler Henderson, and brilliant to see Vicky, his sister, here too. Well, don't forget you can keep up to date with all things Mini Challenge on our website. There's also the Facebook page and Twitter. We'll see you for the title decider at Snetterton. Until then, it's goodbye.